You know, guys, it's been a really bumpy road for the Call of Duty franchise, as well for the Call of Duty community for the past decade, starting with the first and only Cold War Vietnam game. And from that point on, we've had multiple different CODs, from the series finale of a trilogy in Modern Warfare 3 to a game that was supposed to set off its own little spin-off series but just couldn't get the job done, to the introduction of jetpacks being introduced into the series, and with the series taking a full 180 in World War II, to even a soft reboot of the franchise in the form of Modern Warfare. Now, guys, I know that there are some absolutely great CODs that came out over the decade, and there are some that innovated in ways that really pushed the series forward, and there are some ways that made the developers want to take a 20-month break off of Twitter. I'm looking at you, Joe Seacock. So that's what today's topic is going to be. Me ranking every single Call of Duty from the past decade, from worst to best. Let's get into it. Number 10 for me is going to be Modern Warfare 2019. Now, guys, I understand Modern Warfare is the newest COD that's out right now, but my God, man, there are a lot of issues with this game. I mean, where do I start? I mean, thinking about it now, I should have a lot of problems with this game because the developers, Joe Seacock and the other dude, literally came out and say this game wasn't made for good people like me. This game was not made for people that love the rush. This game was made for the noobs. This game was made to bring in new players. That's why they originally wanted to take the minimap out. That's why there's safe spaces. That's why the TTK is so fast. TTK means time to kill, for all you guys that aren't paying attention. That's why the maps are so big and promote camping. And why overall the whole fast-paced Twitch shooter Call of Duty has been known for, that isn't here in this new Call of Duty. Now, there are some a little bit of good things. I will say that the game is great to look at. Like, I think the colors are really vibrant. The game really feels it feels very I don't know, movie-like, if you can call it, like, or like I don't know, what's the proper term? It looks very cinematic. I think that's the proper term. And the customization. Now, the customization, in my opinion, when it comes to guns and how the guns look and how the guns feel and how the guns shoot, I mean, it's no questioning that they won Best Audio for the year, because everything besides the core gameplay, I think, is just fine with the game. And like I said, but back to the customization and how the guns, how you're able to customize it, I think it's the best that we ever seen in the franchise, and hopefully it comes back and it gets implemented into newer CODs. Even though I like games like the Ground War and Shoot House 24/7, but the core game is really what I come to really Call of Duty for. And the core game of this Call of Duty, guys, it's just not for me. And the fact that the developers don't want to fix it is really, really, really what's holding this game back. Now, Spec Ops, on the other hand, I mean, it's fun, but I feel like it would be a lot better if there were fixes and features, and also if the AI wasn't so brutally hard. Now, the campaign, on the other hand, the campaign is fantastic. Personally, I think that this is one of the best, if not the best campaign I think we've ever had in any Call of Duty ever, because it feels so good to see old characters like Captain Price and, spoiler alert, Gas, which is the British black guy. These characters that we all grown to know and love throughout the first 3 Modern Warfares. I just love it how they interact with this new gritty story, and how they also introduce new characters like Farah and her brother. These are all new characters that we never seen in the series before, but the way they implement them in the game, you also care whether they live or die too. So I really like that aspect, and the more emotional and really getting to know their backstory too. So all in all, guys, Modern Warfare 2019 is number 10 for me because of its slow, campy, safe space fueled multiplayer. Like I said, I think that this game has the potential to move up if it were to get better. But like I said, because these developers do not want to fix this game, that's why it's here at number 10. So number 10, once again, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. Number 9 for me is going to be Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Now, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, in my opinion, is a very, very interesting game because you have to remember this is the first advanced movement game in this series. This is also the first time that a Call of Duty game was not developed by Treyarch or Infinity Ward. This game was, of course, developed by Sledgehammer Games. Now, before 2014, Sledgehammer Games was just a support studio that helped the other studios develop Call of Duty games. Like, for example, they helped Infinity Ward develop Modern Warfare 3. But in 2014, Activision made them a full development studio so that they could make the newest Call of Duty for the next gen console, and putting Call of Duty on a 3-year cycle instead of a 2-year cycle. Now, even though I will give Sledgehammer credit for what they had to work with, it's a pretty good game, but in my opinion, this is not one of my favorites, and here's why. One word: SBMM. And that stands for, of course, skill-based matchmaking. This was the very first game that pretty much gave it the okay for them to make these matches skill-based instead of connection-based. And also, guys, we also got to take in the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of advanced movement. I prefer my COD's boots on the ground, but that's just me, though. And also the stat-changing variants, like the ASM1 Squeak Easy and the BAL 27, and also the inclusion of supply drops. Just so much stuff that was implemented into this game that for whatever reason, other studios thought it was a great game to put them in their version of advanced movement. But you know what? Here's the thing. But with Advanced Warfare, there are some positives that I do have with it. Just like with Modern Warfare, the customization is, of course, great. I do like the way that the guns, of course, look. Same thing with Modern Warfare, but I mostly like the way how they did streaks in this game. The fact that you could add certain little things to your streaks to give them like their own little flavor, their own little like identity. I like stuff like that, and the whole pick 14 system I thought was a nice little implement into this whole Call of Duty formula. And the fact that even though I hate futuristic, I mean, it is something different. Now, in my opinion, they kind of went a little overboard with it, but the campaign is decent. Now, here's my little thing on the campaign. It's decent because it's not the worst campaign I've played, but at the same time, it's definitely not the best. And also, I get a little kick out of seeing, Kevin Spacey as the bad guy. Now, Exo Zombies, on the other hand, oh Lord, Exo Zombies. Like I said, with the multiplayer, I get it. Props to them for doing something different, but this is not my version of zombies. I would play Nazi zombies from World War II any freaking day. Heck, I would rather play Transit from Black Ops 2. Yes, I went there. Fight me. Okay, but I just can't with these versions of zombies. The fact that they fly around, the DLC wasn't all that good. It's just not my version of zombies. But guys, to sum it all up, Advanced Warfare is a game that does push the series in a different direction, that does do interesting things, but looking back on it with the SBMM, the stat changing variants, and this game pretty much being nicknamed Call of Duty BAL Warfare because all people used was the ASM1 and the BAL 27, just looking back on there, it just leaves like such a sour taste in my mouth. And that is why Advanced Warfare is my number 9. So once again, number 9, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Number 8 is Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Now, before I get into the negatives, I will give some positives to Black Ops 4. I do like the fact that it is boots on the ground. I like the way that they do the variants in this game, how they don't change the stats, it just changes the look and really the aesthetic of the gun. And I do like it how a lot of the maps are fan favorite maps, even though that they're rehashed and everything. I do like the maps in this game. Some of the streaks are pretty good. The way they do the perks, that's a good little feature too. But I think one more thing, I do like how the snipers are a little bit are a little bit OP. You know, it kind of reminds me of Black Ops 2, but that's just for the positives of this game. Now the negatives, I am not a fan of the 150 health. I am not a fan of the manual health regeneration. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I hated how they have gun-specific attachments in this game, and that sucks because when I want to run a rapid fire on the gun, I couldn't because all they would have is just the standard. It's just a standard attachments that come with the gun, and if you don't like it, then oh well, you gotta deal with it too. Now, even though, like I said, I do like some of the fan favorite maps, the base maps in here, I'm not necessarily a fan of. I don't know, they just kind of lack the flow that the original Black Ops have, and that's like one of my biggest problems with this game. This game feels like such a downgrade from Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3. I mean, the fact that it looks like Black Ops 3 and not like its own game kind of like says a lot for me, because I feel like development was a little rushed on this game, and sometimes it shows, sometimes it doesn't. But that's just my overall opinion of the multiplayer. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I mean, if you guys like it, that is great. It's just not me. I'm not the biggest fan. Now, Blackout, on the other hand, Blackout, I think, is the best thing that's for Black Ops 4 right now, because this game did get like a bunch of support, which is more support than the zombies and multiplayer did get. So I bet you that was like a big turn off for people. I know it was for me, because I'm mostly a multiplayer guy. Multiplayer is my thing. So when it wasn't even getting supported, guys, I just kind of gave up on this game. But a lot of people said that Blackout is enjoyable. I have played it myself during the beta and actually during its life cycle. Blackout is an enjoyable experience, but it's just like, you know, if I want to go play a battle royale, go play PUBG or go play Fortnite or something like that. Don't take this really like as a bash. It's just like there's, in my opinion, there's just better versions of a battle royale out there, but this isn't like a bad version of it. Now, zombies, on the other hand, okay, look, I'm not the biggest, like, I'm not Noah J5, I'm not the Smith Plays, I'm not none of those guys where they take zombies very, very serious, but I consider myself like a casual zombies fan, and zombies in here, just like the multiplayer, it's just not as good as Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3's. I mean, they're still enjoyable in my opinion, because the multiplayer kind of felt flat because of the lack of support and the fact that I wasn't a fan of the overall design and the way it was built. I did find the zombies a lot more enjoyable, and that's only because like I didn't really care for the battle royale, and I didn't really like the multiplayer, so that's kind of one of the reasons why I like zombies so much. But like I said, it's just not as good as the BO3 and the Black Ops 2. I feel like the team in this version of zombies is nowhere as good as the Origins team. But I mean, overall, BO4 is just, in one big word, just disappointment. It's just like everybody expected so much for this game. Everybody was already hyping this game up to be the best COD, and in my opinion, this game was a huge step down. And just overall, in my opinion, not really a fun game. It just, like I said, it just felt more of like a disappointment. But hopefully in 2020, Treyarch can rectify this with the next COD. So once again, guys, number 8, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. At number 7 is Call of Duty Ghost. Now, Call of Duty Ghost is actually a game that Infinity Ward tried to actually make interesting and tried to make it different. But in my opinion, guys, they just like really fell short. And you also have to remember that this was supposed to be a new sub-series for Infinity Ward and a new direction to go. But in my opinion, it just failed to capture what the Modern Warfare trilogy did so nicely. Now, guys, if we go all the way back to 2013, everybody expected we were going to be getting MW4. I mean, it made so much sense because back in them days, guys, we were pretty much in the good old days with COD. Like, we had MW2, Black Ops 1, MW3, Black Ops 2, but then that kind of stopped when we got Call of Duty Ghosts. Now, with Call of Duty Ghosts, they introduced so much new features to try and make this game its own, like the introduction of leading, taking out the UAV, replacing it with the SATCOM, and also revamping the prestige system and adding all these different perks. They really tried to make this game the new Modern Warfare, and instead of falling back on the old stuff that made Infinity War really known for, that all these things that they were known for doing, they just did something different, and it just feels like almost like a cluster because there's so many ideas that are being tossed into this game. It doesn't feel like all thought out. They just said, we'll just throw whatever to the wall and hopefully it sticks. And in my opinion, that's one of the reasons why this multiplayer kind of fell short for me. It's still enjoyable. It still has its moments. I love the interaction of the maps, and I love some of the stuff that it brings, but that's why this multiplayer fell a little short, guys. Now, the campaign, I thought the campaign was fantastic. I mean, guys, can we just say one thing? The introduction of the best dog ever in Riley. Literally, man. Are we ever going to see a more loyal dog than Riley? Probably not. But still, the only thing that sucks for me about the campaign is the freaking cliffhanger ending. And it really, really sucks that we're not going to get a sequel. We're not going to see how the story ends. Because I would love if we actually saw how it ends. Because the fact that we're not even going to get a sequel, that makes Call of Duty Ghosts stand out even more. Now, as for the extinction mode, I don't think it's necessarily bad. I mean, it's almost like Call of Duty meets Left 4 Dead or like Dead Space or something like that. Just like the multiplayer, it definitely has its moments, but in my opinion, it's just not zombies. A lot of people saying like Extinction is underrated. A lot of people say that they love Extinction, and if you do, that's great. It's just not for me. I just prefer zombies. Not like if I want to play like aliens in space or something, I'll go play Dead Space and I'll go play Left 4 Dead. But like I said, they were trying something different, so I'm not gonna fully hate them for it. Can I also take one little moment and talk about one thing I think Call of Duty Ghosts got really right, and that's the DLC with the types of field orders you can do for like extra streaks. The fact that in one of the maps you get to play as Michael Myers, and another map where it's a pirate ship, and if you shoot a tree, the tree will fall down so you can run across it. So there's definitely innovation here. It definitely pushes the series forward, but because this game was supposed to be like its own thing, like I said, it just makes this game stand out even more, knowing that there's not going to probably be a continuation of this, and we probably never will get an ending to that great campaign. So overall, guys, Call of Duty Ghosts does a lot of things that are interesting, and does a lot of things that can be implemented in other CODs, like the leaning mechanic and MW2. But for me, they just have a ton of things holding this game back, and that is why it is my number 7. Number 6 for me is Call of Duty World War II. Now, guys, going all the way back to the launch of Call of Duty World War II, we had bad servers, we had 9 maps at launch, we had problems with the Chrome camo. There was just so many things that were really holding this game back, and while a lot of people actually started walking away from this game, but once they overhauled it, guys, I really enjoyed this multiplayer. And what Sledgehammer did was, after what's-his-face, Michael Conjuring, got fired, they pretty much overhauled this game with all the feedback fans have been tweeting at them and saying to them, and they pretty much rebuilt the multiplayer based on that feedback. And the game that we have right now is fantastic. World War II, guys, is by far one of the best multiplayer experiences. Now that they've done this overhaul, the gunplay is fantastic. The map flow is great because everybody's rushing around, barely anybody's camping. There's still some shotguns going around and stuff like that, but come on, guys, like, it's Call of Duty. Like, there's always gonna be that one guy in the lobby with shotguns. Come on. And I also think what they did as far as content, they really improved on that too, because on top of some of the new guns, on top of the camos, the holiday events, there's just so much stuff that you can do in World War II, and stuff that can really keep you active in this engaging multiplayer. Now, campaign wise, I actually think it's great. I actually think it's solid. I think Sledgehammer does a really good job storytelling wise at depicting one of the great wars that really changed our country really forever. And my only problem with it is that some of the pacing can really start to wear on you. And there's some moments, especially with the little train scene. If you guys have played the campaign, you know what scene I'm talking about, where I have to sort of suspend my disbelief in some areas where I'm like, okay, Sledgehammer, I get it. I get it. You're trying to, like it's still Call of Duty. You need that action. But come on, guys, you're trying to tell a grounded, realistic story of World War II. You guys need to sort of dial it back a bit. But overall, guys, I thought the campaign was solid. Now, Nazi zombies, in my opinion, is better than Exo Zombies. I mean, that's not really saying much, but they kind of ditched the whole storytelling aspect. I mean, it's not there. I mean, well, no, it is there, but they don't do it as much as Treyarch, and they sort of go for this whole horror themed for zombies. Now, I do love the look of zombies in this game, like how the zombies look, how they look more gnarly. They look a little bit more aggressive than the Treyarch zombies. Like, they actually look like they put a lot of design, time, and effort with this version of zombies. Now, even though I like the look of these new zombies, the whole horror aspect, it just really doesn't appeal to me. And here's the thing, I'm a fan of horror movies. Like, I love movies like Elm Street, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Conjuring, and all this other stuff. And when I heard that they were trying to go for that, I was like, oh, okay. But the execution of it, in me, it just sort of a little bit, it let me down. And on top of the fact that they changed the way the perks worked in this game, the fact that there's no Juggernog, and the fact that they kind of give you the wonder weapons, they don't make you go through like a certain amount of Easter eggs to get it. They just sort of give you to it right off the rip if you just get like the certain attachments for it. Stuff like that, where it's just kind of be like, this is why Treyarch will always be #1 when it comes to zombies. But overall, guys, I think Call of Duty World War II is really a fun game, and the only reason why it is my #6 is because it took them so long to fix the problems that really plagued this game. But in my opinion, it's better late than never. I mean, I appreciate, the effort, Sledgehammer, and hopefully Infinity Ward can really, really take a note of really what's happening. And I don't think they know that people are starting to walk away from Modern Warfare, and they have, and why they have freaking surveys out wanting to bring everybody back, because a lot of people get tired of complaining, guys. But for me, I'm glad a lot of YouTubers are sort of opening more up to this game, especially people like me, and really are wondering why wasn't this the game that we got at launch. And sometimes I wonder the same thing. But like I said, guys, overall, solid game. Come back to it. This is the game that we should have gotten at launch, and that is why Call of Duty World War II is my #6. #5 for me is Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Now, in my opinion, this is the most underrated Call of Duty of all time, and I understand that this game gets a lot of hate, but ever since this game's life cycle, and even at the end, I still enjoy this freaking game. And to kick it off right here, guys, I love the way they did the microtransaction system in this game. I think it's the most fair that we've ever seen it in any Call of Duty. And I also love the way that they do specialists in this game, because in my opinion, the specialists, when it comes to an annoyance, they're not as annoying as they are in BO4 or even some of the advanced warfare specialists yet. And I also think one of the main things that I really did love about this game is some of the hit detection and some of the way the maps are designed too. How they're not like MW where they have like a ton of safe spaces, but they do have spaces where you can run. And when it comes to, I remember in Infinity War, in the Modern Warfare interview, they were talking about catering to every single playstyle. Well, I feel like these maps can cater to every single play style, because they do have maps. I mean, they do have sections of these maps where you can snipe people. They also have short sections where you can still have your SMGs, and they still have your medium to long range where you can have AR battles. It's almost like a mixture of play styles all in one. And I also love the way they do the streaks in this game, how they give the streaks different variants in this game, and how the Warden can pretty much turn into an attack chopper from COD 4, and even some of the way that they did the DLC. Like, that's something that Infinity War, in my opinion, nails a lot, is some of the DLC that they have. Like the fact that you can play as Simon Ghost Riley, and there's a Captain Price skin in this game, little stuff like that, and even playing as some of the zombie players, man. Things like that is one of the reasons why I enjoy Infinite Warfare so much, and why this is one of the most funnest multiplayers I think I've ever played. Now, campaign-wise, when it comes to criticisms and stuff like that, everybody says the campaign is great, and I couldn't agree more with you. I think the campaign is solid. That's another thing that Infinity War, in my opinion, nails. And this comes from really more when it comes to consistency and overall good campaigns throughout each game, whether it's hated or good. When it comes to the stories, I think Infinity War knocks it out of the park, because I mean, they did it with Ghost, they did it for the entire MW trilogy, they even did it with this new one, and they sure as heck did it with this game. I enjoyed the campaign in this game. Even though the villain is not as strong as Makarov from the Modern Warfare trilogy, I still enjoy this campaign, and in my opinion, it's up there with being the best ones. Now, zombies wise, I freaking love, repeat, love Zombies in Spaceland. Zombies in Spaceland is by far one of the best zombie maps in my opinion, and by far this is one of the best zombies experience I've had actually in a long time, because I like it how Infinity War, they pretty much show Sledgehammer, okay, if you're going to do zombies, obviously we're not going to do it as good as Treyarch, but if you're going to do zombies, make it your own thing. Like, don't go too far into the futuristic zombies. Like, have it be just a little bit grounded. But I like it how their version of zombies, it doesn't take itself serious like Treyarch zombies. Like, it knows it's a goofy version of it, and it just has fun. I love the whole 80s vibe, and I love Raven the Redwoods, how it's 90s, and Shaolin Shuffle is 70s, and Attack of the Radioactive thing is in, I think it's the 40s and 50s. And actually, Beast from Beyond is actually a continuation from Extinction, which I actually like. So overall, guys, Infinite Warfare, in my opinion, is very underrated. Like I said, I know this game gets a lot of hate, but it will never receive a shred of hate or the amount of hate that it gets from this guy, and that is why Infinite Warfare is my number 5. At number 4, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Now, starting off with some of the positives with Black Ops 3, first of all, the whole booster jumping around the whole place from Advanced Warfare, that gets toned down a little bit, and instead they make it so you can wall run everywhere. And also, okay, this is kind of like a mixed aspect, so I guess I'm pretty much done with my positives. Well, actually, no. One more positive. This game is overall, multiplayer-wise, it's just overall fun. Okay, now, a little mixed aspect here was the inclusion of specialists. Now, people like me and some other people on the internet think that this is just a free kill streak because you can just sit anywhere and just wait for it to charge up, and then all of a sudden, you can go find a guy, kill him off his streak and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I do still think that way, but if you also have a good player, he can also use the weapons and the abilities to his advantage. And really, the main thing with Black Ops 3 when it comes to their multiplayer, the one thing that really holds it back for me is the fact that the microtransactions in this game are really brought to the forefront. Like, ever since Advanced Warfare started this was the game where I think Treyarch was like, hey, this can be a thing. And obviously they took it overboard in Black Ops 4. But in this game, that's one of the main things that really holds the multiplayer back. This game is still fun. The streaks are balanced, and they're actually used pretty well in this game. And the fact that this game is built around the specialists the right way, unlike Black Ops 4, makes for an overall entertaining multiplayer experience. Now, campaign on the otherwise, guys, I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. I'm not a fan of this campaign at all. There are some defenders of it. I'm not one of them. I hate the fact that they don't continue off of Black Ops 3. They give us all new characters that are nowhere near as likable as Sergeant Woods, Alex Mason, or heck, even Reznov from the last 2 games. I just hated how they pretty much disregard everything that happened in Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2, and they just go for this new story, and it's so weird and so crazy that I just could not get into it. Now, the zombies, on the other hand, in my opinion, this is the best version of zombies. There's some YouTubers out there that do agree with me. There's some people out there that still think Black Ops 1 is the best, and a lot of people say no, Black Ops 2 is clearly the best. In my opinion, Black Ops 3 is clearly the best. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Shadows of Evil. I really don't like that map. I actually prefer Spacelands over that map. I would play Spacelands every day before I ever play that map. But some of the DLC maps were great. I can't think about them on top of my head. But with the inclusion of Zombie Chronicles, I think that's really what solidified Black Ops 3 Zombies as my favorite. And on top of the fact fact that if you had this game for PC, they had custom mods in this game. So what Treyarch did, they added these mods in the game to where you could make your own little map. You could do the perks your way. You could, make all the weapons. You could pretty much do whatever you want. And I like that because that adds even more replay value to the game, knowing that there's 100 and even 1,000 ways that you could sort of revamp the whole zombies experience. And I really do like that, guys. So overall, Black Ops 3 is definitely a fun game, but because of those microtransactions, it brings it down just a little bit for me. Still an overall great game, and if you haven't played it, I say check it out. This game, in my opinion, is worth the while. So coming in at number 4, guys, like I said, is Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Coming in at number 3 is ironically going to be Modern Warfare 3. Now, I actually enjoy Modern Warfare 3 a lot. Like, I love the launch content that they had with the 16 maps and over 50 weapons. I enjoyed all of that. And when it comes to innovation, Modern Warfare 3 did a lot. With the inclusion, they brought the Moab to the table, which was a very fun nuke streak you could go for, despite the fact that it didn't end the game. And I also love the inclusion of specialists in this game. In my opinion, this is my favorite version of specialists, because even though, yeah, they are specialists and yeah, they have like different features, it doesn't like cause like a bit of annoyance, and it doesn't have like an actual, any type of like ability or something like that, other than the fact that it'll give you extra perks and stuff like that. It doesn't give you like a freaking gravity spike or a freaking annihilator like it does in Black Ops 3 and 4. And I also like the new modes that they introduced in this game, like Infected and Drop Zone. But I feel like, wait, hold on. One more positive before I get into some of the cons. One more positive is I love the way that they did the streaks. In my opinion, the streaks are just as strong in MW3 as they are in MW2. Now, moving on to some of the cons and why this game just barely got nudged out by number 1 and number 2 is because this game feels like a watered down version of MW2. I mean, I still do enjoy this game, but the fact that it feels like I've been there and done that, and the fact that they introduced spawn protection in this game, that really, really brings the multiplayer down for me. But like I said, overall, guys, I enjoy this multiplayer, and it is a blast to play. Now, campaign-wise, what a great way to wrap up the trilogy. I feel like every single character was utilized perfectly. Nobody feels underused. Nobody feels misused. And Makarov's death at the ending, in my opinion, is one of the most satisfying Call of Duty endings in the entire franchise. Now, survival, on the other hand, survival is great. I do enjoy it. It does have its moments, but in my opinion, it's just not as good as Spec Ops and MW2. But overall, guys, I think Modern Warfare 3 is a fine addition to the Call of Duty franchise, and I really felt like my number 1, you guys probably know what that's going to be. I feel like it pushed the envelope even better, but I feel like Modern Warfare 3 was a great wrap-up of a trilogy, and it was like almost our final goodbye until we got reintroduced to some of these characters in 2019's game. So, like I said, guys, number 3 is Modern Warfare 3. Number 2 for me is going to be the original Black Ops. Now, guys, the original Black Ops I really do enjoy, and this is all time one of my favorite Call of Duties, because first of all, the way they did the gold camo in this game is by far, I think, like the best looking gold camo out of any single Call of Duty that we have. I love all the maps in this game, and classic maps too, like Jungle and Firing Range and the introduction of Nuketown. Just so much iconic stuff that Treyarch did in this first Black Ops really pushed the series forward, and they actually did it a lot better in my number 1. But with Black Ops 1, the only con that I have is sometimes the hit detection can be just a little wonky. But then after that, I mean, there's really not much I can say about this multiplayer that hasn't really already been said. I mean, there's really no problems with it. I love the wager matches. I also love this game's version of COD points, how you don't have to buy it. It's actually in-game currency and things like that. And overall, this is by far top 3, if not top 2, best multiplayer experiences of all time. Now, guys, the campaign-wise, guys, I freaking love this campaign. And it's kind of sad that we've only gotten one version of the Vietnam War in the Call of Duty series because, in my opinion, we need more stories like this. And I feel like the way that they did it in this first Black Ops is so great, and it is so gritty. This is by far one of the grittiest Call of Duty campaigns I think we ever had. And of course, guys, the introduction of Sergeant Frank Woods. Do I need to say more? And of course, guys, the zombies. Now, the zombies in here, I don't think Treyarch kind of knew what they had yet, and they did improve upon that in the sequel. But in my opinion, guys, the way that they did zombies in here, it's still a good version of zombies. Like, you still got iconic maps like Call of the Dead and Kino Deterrent and all of these iconic things that we've come to know in zombies and love, guys. But overall, guys, I think Black Ops 1 is a fantastic game. Easily my number 2 COD, and easily one of the best Call of Duties to come out of this past decade, period. So number 2 is the original Black Ops. But of course, guys, number 1, come on, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is literally everything you could ever want in a Call of Duty. It literally builds upon what you wanted and what you loved about that original Black Ops game, and it just pretty much turns it up to 10. The multiplayer in this game, guys, I don't have a single bad thing to say about it. There is nothing wrong with this multiplayer. This multiplayer is done right, from the pick 10 system, from all the iconic maps like Slums, Raid, freaking Hijack, and all of these iconic maps that are still like blueprints for maps that these developers designed today. And also, guys, the way that they did League play in here is one of my favorite parts in this whole game. Like, the League play in here, I don't understand why they don't just copy and paste the way that they did League play in here and just put it over the other Call of Duties. Because, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, you guys want to rehash stuff so much. Why don't you just rehash the way that you did League play? I mean, that would make the community good. And the campaign, love the campaign. Don't have a thing to say. Like I said, builds upon what we loved in Black Ops 1 and, of course, at World of War, and just expands it more. Bringing in new characters, gives us more backstory on them, fleshes them out more, so we also care about them. And also, Frank Woods is still good in here. You know, we have Alex Mason, all these good, iconic characters. And, of course, the zombies are top-notch still. And the zombies in this game are like Treyarch, like at its peak with zombies. And I think Black Ops 3, they really just built upon what they learned about the zombies in Black Ops 2. Because I love the way that they did zombies in Black Ops 2. And Black Ops 2, guys, so many, again, iconic maps like Origins, Revelations, and of course the town map, which a lot of people probably wouldn't consider it a favorite, but it is a favorite of mine because I love this map so much. And I feel like how they did the ray guns, how they did the perks, how they did the wonder weapons, everything. It's like the stars were so aligned for Treyarch in the year 2012. And in my opinion, they delivered the best Call of Duty of the decade. And before we wrap up this video, guys, let me know in the comments down below, how would you rank all these Call of Duties? Because I'm curious, how would you guys rank them? What is your number 1, and which one do you think is the worst one? All right, guys, remember to leave a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you can know every time I upload a new video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
This is your last chance.